here they are here at last. Hi guys, it's me Tom, welcome back to the Allotment Family Diary, and I have in my hands two very expensive bunches of sticks. Just sticks, nothing more. Or are they? No, they are much more than that, and I'm quite excited today because the raspberries are finally here. So remembering back to our previous video where I prepared the plot for these bad boys to go in, about a week or so later they're here, they're finally here. So these are rootstock raspberries, and in total I have 30, so I have 20 of one variety and 10 of the other. With the ground all nice and prepared over on the brand new allotment plot, or the derelict plot as we sometimes call it, which is now going to be the fruit plot, it is time to get these in. I don't think I'll get all of them in today, we'll see what the weather's doing, but I'll at least get some in. So the big reveal, what varieties did we go for? I know some of you are anxious to know what we've got. This big bundle of 20 canes is a variety known as All Gold. They are extremely sweet, and Tilly's neighbour actually grows these, and we've tasted one or two. They are so nice. So these should begin fruiting from early summer onwards, really, but I doubt we will get any fruit next year because obviously it's the first year that these are going to be put into the ground on the new plot. And this smaller bundle of 10 is a variety known as Autumn Bliss. So these will fruit slightly later than the All Gold, hence the name, isn't it? Autumn Bliss, really. They're not as sweet, but we kind of figured, you know, we'll have the All Gold fruiting throughout the summer, and when they stop fruiting into the autumn, we'll then have the Autumn Bliss. I think this afternoon I'm just going to focus on putting in the Autumn Bliss, 10 of these, but don't worry, by the end of the video you will see all 30 plants put into the brand new plot. So I've been talking to some veterans up here and also doing a bit of research on rootstock raspberries, and there is a bit of a process to putting them in. So if you're new to putting them in, follow along with the video and see how it's done. Now I will say that all of these rootstock raspberries have been sat in a bucket of water for the past 3 days in our shed, sheltering away from the freezing temperatures. So it is vital that you do this before planting rootstock raspberries, because we want to start livening up these roots and make sure that they are actually going to take root in the soil, because you don't plant them that deep, which I find strange, but hey, it's amazing what you learn when you start gardening. So now I think it's time to start planting. Let's go. By my calculations, we should be able to fit 10 plants in each of these rows. Only 3 of them are going to have raspberries in, and I'm going to space them roughly about 50 centimeters apart. There are some new additions to this plot, and I briefly mentioned it at the end of the last video, the large wooden stakes. As you know, we don't like to waste anything up here at the allotment, but these are actually given to us by a neighbour, and I believe they were hazelnut trees that he had cut down or topped because they were getting too big to have at the allotments up here. So we've taken them, and I think they're going to be great. Stick them in the ground, we'll put the rope or the string across, and it will support the raspberries when they start growing. I've got 9 of these in the ground, and when you look at the price of timber, you'd probably be talking about £10 per post, so that's a saving of £90. We haven't had to have a bonfire, and we've recycled stuff. Amazing. Let's begin. Hi Chase. Chase the cat is here to have a look, if you can see him in the side there. So we've got 3 markers here. I've got a row of 10. So what I'm going to start doing is getting the soil ready. Now we'll start here. I was surprised to learn that really rootstock raspberries don't need to be put that deep into the ground whatsoever. In fact, they only recommend putting them in about 2 inches. But what I'm going to do first of all is just start digging a bit of a trench through the middle here. What are you doing, Chase? Honestly. I've actually decided to dig out half of the trench, so 5 can go in here. We'll do the first 5 and then we'll do the next 5. But what I'm going to do first of all is get in some of this lovely, well-rotted horse manure compost, and I'm just going to fill the whole trench with this stuff to give it a nice boost for next year when it starts growing. Just going to give the trench a really good water as well before we get the raspberries into the ground. And it's time for our first victim. So in you go. Just going to press it in slightly, make sure we're not putting it in too deep, because they really don't like that. There's still a few bits of bindweed in here, so that's going to be interesting come summer, actually come spring more than likely. So yeah, about 2 inches, that's all we need. And this one is good to go. So next, 50 centimeters down. I do like to measure things, I'm quite precise. Do you guys do that? Are you quite precise with your measurements? And exactly the same for the second one. Just press it in a bit and just cover it up. Luckily, we've had a lot of rain, so the soil is quite moist anyway. So it's quite easy to pack them in like this, but we do need to assemble the raspberry support network, which I'll be doing very shortly. Well, that's all the raspberries in the ground, or 10 of them at least, 20 more to go. So the next thing to do, got my snippers, because I want to prune these back to about 10 inches. And this is going to prevent diseases, it's going to encourage more growth and bigger fruits next year. And while some raspberries won't fruit in their first year, apparently the Autumn Bliss has a good chance of fruiting. So I think this is well worth doing. Now this is something that probably isn't necessary for the raspberries being at this height, but for me, for peace of mind and the fact that we do get foxes coming up and digging around here, I am going to start supporting them already. So all I'm going to do, I've got string tied it to that post there, and I'm just going to thread it around each one like this, right down to the end, and then we'll pull it tight. And then I'm going to do exactly the same, but the other way around. So the raspberries are supported from both angles. And we'll make sure it stays at the same, roughly the same height. I think should be okay. And then we'll pull it up here, up and around, and then tie it to this post up here. So I've just done the bottom one as well, and it's just so you can see a bit closer, so the string kind of supports it from both angles, and that runs all the way up to the top. Same old story with all of them going up to there. Well, there we go, a lovely afternoon's work. Yeah, I'm pleased that we've got the first 10 in, but we have another 20 to go, and that will be 20 all gold raspberries. Yeah, pleased with this, chuffed. And there we have it, 20 all gold now in the ground as well. So we've got the 10 Autumn Bliss, 20 all gold, and that is going to make up our raspberry patch for our brand new abandoned allotment. Not abandoned anymore though. I've just popped into our polytunnel, and there's something that I want to show you. You may remember our last video where Tilly and I took some cuttings of her thornless blackberry ready to grow on the new fruit plot next year. I have also taken some cuttings from our figs, and there's something else I want to show you. These. So these are the cuttings that I've taken from the all gold raspberries. If you remember, I was snipping the tops off to make sure that the plants are no taller than about 10 inches. And this is what I've done with the cuttings. So we have another 12 plants here. So should any of them not grow in the new plot, we've got these as backups. And say they all grow, we've got these left over. I believe Tilly might have them on her plot. So all I've done is make sure that we've got 2 nodes, dip that into some rooting powder and pop them in some potting compost. Make sure we're leaving 2 above as well. So fingers crossed we'll have more plants, and it's not wasting what we've cut off from the new plants that have just been bought. So I'm really pleased that I've managed to get these in now, because during the winter months is the best time to put in your rootstock raspberries, and I can't wait to watch these grow over the next couple of years into flourishing bushes, providing our family with succulent fruits. Hi Chase, hello, welcome back. There's plenty more to do on this plot though. I was thinking of mulching the raspberries today, but I don't think I'm going to, because this can lead to the plant rotting, and especially considering the really wet weather we're having on and off at the moment, I think that's best to do perhaps next year. So mulching is beneficial because over time it will feed the plant and it also suppresses weeds. And mulching also helps the soil to retain moisture, but as it's so wet at the moment, I really don't think we need to retain any more moisture than we've already got in the soil. So I still have the paving to put down, or the path, and that is something which will come in a later video. So do subscribe to the channel if you want to see how this plot progresses and how I'm going to lay the paths, because I don't just want to leave it as wet mud. Weeds will come up or it will be dangerous and slippery, and the whole idea of this plot was to make it accessible as possible for Nick and Tilly, who are my mum and dad. Well, here we are back in the paddock by the shed, right where we started the video. Chase is here laying on my jumper, covering it in fur. Now it's suddenly become very noisy at the allotment. I don't know if you can hear some vehicles in the background, and that is because, and I'm quite shocked at this, our city council has come up to do some work up here, which we as an allotment committee have been requesting them to do for years now. Several years, and finally it's happening today. Now if you are interested in becoming a channel member, it costs about the same as a cheap packet of seeds each month. There is a link in the video description below where you can access a channel membership, and you can hear all about the pothole story at the allotments and the struggle the committee have had to actually get the local council to do some work up here. But good on them, they're finally doing it. With the channel membership there's all sorts of other behind the scenes things going on, family life at home, fun with the dogs. Get to know me and the family a little better and consider becoming a channel member. If it's not something that's in your budget, don't worry, we do understand, but we hope you enjoy the public videos that we're putting out as well. Do consider subscribing if you haven't already, and give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. Let us know what raspberry varieties you are growing on your allotment or in your garden next year. Anyway, that's me, Tom, signing off. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.